This is probably the biggest no-brainer when it comes to self-education in 2018. Hey yo guys, and welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurship with Jaime. Today's episode we're talking podcasts and why you should start listening to them if you don't already. I'm also gonna be giving you my top 5 podcast recommendations in the entrepreneurship sphere. So guys, let's get on it. Let's start with why you should be listening to podcasts. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel already, go ahead and do that now. But if you have and you've been watching my videos and consuming my content, you probably know that I'm a huge advocate of self-education, and I just see it as an essential part of the entrepreneurship journey as well as the personal development journey, which for me are very closely linked. I'm a huge advocate of reading books. I'm a huge advocate of connecting with people that are on the same frequency as you, of networking with people, of surround yourself with the right people so they can grow with them and really hold each other accountable, as well as consuming incredibly valuable content that can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, to that financial freedom that you want, or that dream lifestyle that you want for yourself. Now, like books or like watching videos on YouTube or like taking a course, podcasts fall under this section of self-education, as they're just a great source of valuable content and of immense knowledge. But what is the greatest benefit and the biggest advantage by far of listening to podcasts? They solve an immense problems that we as humans have nowadays, and that is our lack of time. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to build a business, or really if you're trying to do anything in life that's worthwhile, you probably have a lot of tasks that you're taking on and you have very little time. You have very little limited time. For example, myself, I'm running my clothing brand, which is an e-commerce business. I'm also doing some social media marketing work. I'm doing YouTube. I'm also going to university in the meantime. I'm consuming content. I'm reading, doing all these things, right? And I just don't have much time to, sit here in my desk and consume videos upon videos on YouTube or take on an online course very regularly. And so what a podcast allows you to do is to listen to incredibly valuable content while you're doing work, while you're doing stuff. It doesn't require you to sit down and be in one spot at one time doing one thing. For example, myself, I listen to podcasts when I'm at the gym. I listen to podcasts when I'm walking towards the gym. I listen to podcasts when I'm walking from class to class, when I'm at university. Maybe when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm doing very monotonous work, I'll listen to podcasts. That's why it's so valuable, because it allows you to be doing other things while you're still feeding yourself, while you're still feeding your brain immense and valuable content, which otherwise you wouldn't have time for. In a nutshell, it just trades on time, and that's why it's so helpful. That is why it's so essential. And if you've been listening to people like Vaynerchuk or other great entrepreneurs, they're really doubling down on audio, because I myself as well really do believe that is the future. It is the future of consuming content. Voice recognition, in fact, with artificial intelligence, that's where the world is going. And that's why you should jump on podcasts now, because if you get ahead and you start consuming hours upon hours while you're commuting to work, while you're walking 20 minutes to school or whatever you're doing, it's just gonna add so much value to your life. And it's quite sad to see that a lot of people don't even know about podcasts, and they're just stuck in traffic or commuting to work 30 minutes by car every single day, where they could just be listening to really successful entrepreneurs and feeding themselves great information, which could literally change their lives. But they're not doing it either because they don't know about podcasts and how to listen to them, or they just don't know what shows to listen to. And that is why today I'm giving you my top 5 recommendations in the entrepreneurship sphere, so that you can start hammering those podcasts and consuming incredibly valuable content. So let's get to those recommendations. First recommendation is The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes, and I'll just pop it here. Go ahead and check it out, subscribe, listen to his videos, because Lewis brings in the best experts from all areas, all industries, all sectors, people who are just crushing in life, people who are doing things differently, who are thinking differently, and it's definitely very inspiring to see. And it's not just motivational stuff, but it's very, very practical stuff as well. It's mostly interviews. He does motivational clips on Friday, which are also very helpful. But it's mostly interviews, and people talk about their life experiences, and it's all inspiring to hear about their experiences and really what people have gone through in their lives, because it puts things into perspective. It gives you a lot of context. And as I said, it also provides very practical advice, especially for entrepreneurs and really also in the personal development sphere. So do check it out. Give it a listen. It's definitely very very worthwhile listen. And that's my first recommendation. The second recommendation is the Gary V audio experience by Gary Vaynerchuk. Now, if you're watching this video and you're into entrepreneurship in any form, you probably know who Gary Vaynerchuk is. If you don't, go ahead and check him out. But yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk is, it's definitely one of those people in the entrepreneurship sphere that I definitely I look up to him a lot, and that is because I just resonate with his content a lot. The good thing, the thing I like most about him is one day I'll be feeling like things are not clicking, like things are not going the way I expect them to go, and I really start questioning why I'm doing all this and stuff like that, which I think all entrepreneurs go through. And he just put things into perspective for me. He preaches to deploy patience. He preaches to go for the long-term rewards, to play the long game, and that as an entrepreneur is very, very valuable advice. I also like that he talks about up-to-date advice on social media and really on social media marketing strategies that you can go and implement on your personal brand or whatever it is you're trying to do on social media. And apart from that, it's just extremely motivational. He brings in a lot of speakers as well, and he does a lot of keynote talks. So it's definitely a very worthwhile listen, so go ahead and do that. Alright, so the third recommendation is the Rise of the Young podcast by Casey Adams. Now, a lot of people probably don't know this podcast because it's firstly quite new, it's quite recent. And second of all, I don't think it's very popular yet because it's in its early stages. But I think it has the potential to be a really great thing. Casey Adams is actually a 17-year-old entrepreneur, which is it's just crazy. He's got his own podcast. He launched a book as well. And the reason why I follow this podcast is not only does he provide great insights because he brings in, very reputable and experts and great source of information, but it's also very inspirational to see such a young person crushing it at this age. And yeah, it just puts things into perspective in the sense that, if you want it enough, if you want it badly enough, you can achieve great things. So big up to Casey Adams. He's got a great podcast, and go ahead and listen to that as well. Now, my last two top podcast recommendations are not so motivational in the sense that it's more practical, it's also more technical, and it's just practical advice that you can put into action, that you can take action on and really improve results in these two areas of your life that I'm about to go over. So the fourth one, it's Marketing Secrets by Russell Brunson. Now, if you don't know Russell Brunson, he's the guy who created ClickFunnels. And he just provides a lot of value on marketing. He provides his marketing secrets, and it's just really, really good if you're into social media marketing, or if you're just trying to grow anything. If you're trying to grow your personal brand, or if you have a business that you're trying to grow, marketing is just an essential part of sales and of running a business. And so this is practical advice. He also does provide a lot of his perspective on entrepreneurship, because he's a great entrepreneur, as well as he gives you context and also a bit of motivation as well. So go ahead and listen to this. It'll definitely step up your marketing knowledge, and it's incredibly valuable. So I'll leave it here, and go ahead and check it out. And guys, the last podcast recommendation is the Cardone Zone by Grant Cardone. Here it is. Go ahead and subscribe to it. Go ahead and give it a listen. It's just a really, really good podcast. First, let's talk about Grant Cardone. Now, if you don't know Grant Cardone, he's a great entrepreneur. He's one of the persons that I most admire. His work ethic is just there. He didn't come from much, but he just takes action, guys. He implements stuff, and he just doesn't stop working. Now, in his podcast, he does provide, as always, as all these entrepreneurs do, he provides a lot of entrepreneurship context. He gives you a lot of context. He gives you a lot of ideas, and talks about the lifestyle, the kind of like just the implications of being an entrepreneur, and practical advice, because he speaks from experience. But what I like about him the most is his financial advice, the way he can take your life to the next level financially. He gives saving advice. He gives advice on how to increase your income. I think that's an essential part of life, of personal development, of growing as an individual. And you know that I'm obsessed in personal growth. That's what this channel is also about entrepreneurship, about personal development, about becoming the best version of yourself. And Cardone really, he's the testimony of it. Now, guys, I forgot to mention, but you can listen to podcasts on the podcast app on your iPhone. I'll just leave it here. That's how it looks. Or you can also listen to podcasts on SoundCloud or Spotify. Those are the platforms that you should be using to listen to podcasts. Those are the platforms that work best, and so try those. If you have an iPhone, go for the podcast app. If not, if you have an Android, or if you're on your desktop, go ahead and go on Spotify or SoundCloud. Alright, guys, that is it for today's episode of Entrepreneurship with Jaime. I really hope you enjoyed those top 5 podcast recommendations. Guys, trust me, this can change your life if you just spend hours upon hours that you would otherwise be wasting on your commute, on walking to places, on anything you're doing that you could be listening to something else. Give Gary Vaynerchuk a listen, give Grant Cardone a listen, give Lewis House a listen, and you will not regret it. I think this will literally change your life for the better. And so start listening to those podcasts on your phone, on your desktop, whatever it is, guys. And if you enjoyed this episode, and if you think a friend of yours could do with this advice, go ahead and share it with a friend. Also, go ahead and give this video a like, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because we've got content on entrepreneurship, personal development, branding, growing on social media, your brand growing on social media as well. So do give this video a like, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Also, leave in the comments any podcast recommendations that you have. What are you listening to right now? And if you didn't listen to podcasts before, leave in the comments if you're going to take action and what you think of this video. And also, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.